Hello, hello, testing our live stream. Okay, let's let people in. Hello, hello, testing our live stream. How do I? Mr. Hegna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you, my friend?
Very good.
Awesome. I got a Tom Hegna day today.
Yeah, I mean, geez, one right after another. Well,
Well,
this first one's a little shorter, so we should be okay, and then the second one might be just a hair longer. See.
what is your definition of shorter and hair long and hair longer? Just
Well, I mean, I should be done with this in 45 minutes, I
okay,
would think.
that's
And
fine.
then the other one, I'm probably going to go the full hour,
That's fine.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll try to speed it up.
That's fine. No, no, no. It's all good. Let me make you co-host so you can share your screen if you've got slides.
I do.
Awesome. And I'm working with Tim on a webinar date for December where it's to our entire list and we get you some revenue besides commission checks.
All right. Let's see. Here we go. Just want to make sure this is the right one. I got everything in there. Yeah, that should be right.
All right.
All right, so I'm just going to put that up like that. All right,
Yay.
it's all working.
Awesome.
Yeah, Tim set me up with 5 events today, if you can believe it. Just
Oh
great.
my God. I had no idea. I thought we were the only two.
Mm-mm. No, one already, and then 2 after yours. So
One. Okay, so you had one, you got two with me, and then two after. Wow, you got a busy day.
all the way till 7 o'clock tonight is the last one. So
My goodness, when I do two webinars in one day, I then need a nap.
yeah, no, it's yeah. I'm a little dark, I guess, but the
Yes.
lighting in here isn't as good.
It's funny, I had to stop wearing my Apple Watch and tracking fitness during webinars because it tells me like I'm burning. It's the equivalent of a workout
Yeah, no, I know.
because your heart rate gets pumping.
Well, there's times my back has been soaking wet from sweat after I get done.
Yep. It's so funny. I get home and then my wife is like, "It's 5 o'clock. Why are you taking a shower?" And I'm like, "Because I did two webinars today and I now need a shower."
Yeah,
All right, let me start letting a couple of people. Again, we'll have a whole lot more people watch the replay.
yeah.
But we'll start letting some people in. We'll get people in, even though I told them to be early, who will be late. But we're going to start you right on time.
I'll go off camera then until you introduce me.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're going to start with the amazing, incredible Tom Hegna in just a couple minutes. Awesome. Daniel, thank you for turning your camera on. Chris, if we could get your camera on. John, if you're not driving, if we could get your camera on. I'm going to start in about 2 minutes. There he is, looking handsome today. I like this shirt and sport coat.
Um, I do.
Welcome, everybody. We're going to start in just a minute. Because we're going to be very respectful of Tom's time. Because I just found out he's got 5 events in a row today. I'm going to ask mute yourselves until you either want to ask a question in the chat or ask it live, just so we get a good, clean recording. All right, Tom, we're going to start in about 15 seconds.
All right.
Oh, Chris, you're on camera for the first time. That's awesome. I actually get to see what you look like. All I see is an email address. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. I'll let everybody in as they get here. All right, welcome everybody. I am super excited for today's session because we get to talk to the one, the only Tom Hegna. For those of you who've been living under a rock, Tom is literally a legend in our industry. Nobody knows retirement income planning better than financial expert, author, and speaker Tom Hegna. Uh, is former first vice president of New York Life. He's dominated the platform of all the biggest stages in retirement and financial planning industry. He's got a record of over 2,000 seminars, 3,000 training systems, a PBS special, and numerous best-selling books and courses for financial advisors and insurance agents, including Paychecks and Playchecks, Retirement Income Masters, Don't Worry, Retire Happy, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and thank you for your service of 22 years in the U.S. Army. Super excited for Tom to share with us today. Tom, we're not here to learn from me today. We're here to learn from you. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you take it away. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you, Seth, and thank you all for coming on. We're going to be talking about my latest book, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's different than any of my others, but let me get into how this all started. I got asked by several companies to develop a presentation on financial wellness. That's kind of the buzzword in the industry. And as I was doing my research for that presentation, I was shocked at how financial wellness is tied to physical wellness, is tied to mental wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual wellness. They're all tied together. And you see that because let's say you're on an appointment, you go up to somebody's house and they have a beautifully manicured lawn, and you go in there, they've got all their finances in a file, it's all in order. Then you go over to some other guy's house, they got weeds everywhere, they don't know where any of their financial stuff is, they're arguing back and forth, they've been divorced twice. These things are all tied together. But I thought financial wellness, it sounded kind of boring, so I changed it to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And so what I do is I teach people, especially young people, how simple it is to become a millionaire in America today. So that's what I'm going to walk you through. Now, this goes back 40 years ago when I was an advisor. I'd go to one of my kids' ball games, or I'd be at a party and somebody say, "So Tom, what do you do?" Well, what do you say? Some people say I'm a life insurance agent, or I'm a financial advisor, or whatever you say. I didn't say any of that. I said, I help people become millionaires. You tell me how many million you want. I'll show you what you need to do to get there. Now, you got to remember, this was 40 years ago. There were not ETFs. I couldn't illustrate mutual funds. I couldn't illustrate annuities at the time. There was one product I could illustrate. You know what that was? That was life insurance. So what I did is I would solve for $1 million of life insurance at that person's age 65. Now, I didn't do that because I thought they're going to put all their money in life insurance. But here's what I found. 90% of Americans think they'll never become wealthy. And you know what? They're right. And 10% of Americans know they're going to become wealthy. And you know what? They're right too. Because here's what I found. To achieve something, you have to believe you can do it. But to believe you can do it, what I found is you have to put a piece of paper in front of them with their name on it and $1 million. And when they can see it, then they can believe it, and then it can actually happen. So I just wanted to put a piece of paper in front of this, a 25-year-old female. You'll see she has to put away about $7,700 a year. If she does that, when she's age 65, she'll have $1 million. Now, I don't know how many 25-year-old females have $7,700, but my point was to put a piece of paper with their name and $1 million. Then I would take them to a time value of money calculator. And I would say, Seth, if you could get 6% on your money, you'd only have to put away about $500 a month, and you're going to be a millionaire when you're 65. If you could get 9%, the center one, you only have to put away about $250 a month, and you'll be a millionaire. If you could get 12%, you only have to put away $100 a month. Well, now all of a sudden she says, well, I could do that. I could do that. I might even be able to do that. And so now she gets excited about the fact that she does now think she can become a millionaire. Now, the three phases of wealth are building wealth, what I'm talking about today, who wants to be a millionaire. But then there's protecting wealth, who wants to stay a millionaire, and distributing wealth, who wants to live and give like a millionaire. I have spent my entire career on number 2 and number 3. I have been working with baby boomers on protecting and distributing their wealth. So why did I get out of my lane and go to number 1? Well, I got 4 kids. I got kids ranging from 22. I got a 22-year-old, a 24-year-old, a 37-year-old, and a 40-year-old, all with the same wife. Okay, been married now 41 years. And these are the things that I taught my own children. And when I go through this, many of you are going to say, well, I knew that. Okay, we all got taught that as kids. Do you think the kids today are being taught these things? And these are the key things I want to share. Now, when it comes to building wealth, there are really three keys. Number one, if possible, you want to make more money, because the more money you make, the more money you can save. You want to spend less, or at least spend wiser. And number three, the big one, you want to put the majority of your wealth into appreciating assets. Now, think about what the average person out there is doing. They're buying cars and boats and jet skis and RVs and shoes and handbags and clothes and latest Apple phone. Those are all depreciating assets. Those go down in value every single day. And so what we want to teach our young clients is you don't want to put the majority of your money into depreciating assets. Now, we all need some depreciating assets, but we don't want to put the majority of our wealth there. And we certainly don't want to finance depreciating assets. So you don't want to take a boat loan. You don't want to take an RV loan. You don't want to take a car loan. Those, because then you're paying interest on things that are going down in value every day. I mean, these are simple concepts, but you wouldn't believe how 99% of the people out there don't understand this. And the other dirty little secret is that every one of your clients is going to earn millions. Every one of them. If they make 50,000 a year, they're going to earn somewhere between 3 and 6 million. But if you can get up to 100,000 a year, they're going to earn somewhere between 7 and 11 million. And if we can get up to 250,000 a year, they're going to earn somewhere between 18 and 28 million. And I will tell you, it's a lot easier to save $1 million when you got 28 million coming in than if you got 3 million coming in. Now, at this time, I normally have somebody raise their hand and say, Tom, $1 million is nowhere near enough. I don't disagree, but I will tell you this. The first million is the hardest. The second, the third, the fourth, the fifth million come a lot faster because you got to work for that first million. After you get the first million, then your millions can start working for you. So how do you make more money? We got to help people find their ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese concept where 4 circles intersect. The first circle, what are you good at doing? You list down everything you're good at. And then the top one, what do you love to do? Because you might be good at something, but you don't like doing it. That's not a good combination. And then the third one, what does the world need? And the fourth one, what can you be paid to do? When you find the intersection of those 4 circles, that's your ikigai. That's your best chance at making the most money. Now, let me use me as an example. I like doing this. People say I'm good at doing this. The world certainly needs what I'm doing, and I get paid pretty well to do it. So I have found my ikigai. Many of you have found your ikigai, but we need to help young people find their ikigai. I also shared this secret to success with every one of my kids. I said, when you get a job, I want you to go to work early, stay late, and always do more than what you're paid to do. They say, well, why would I do that? Because soon you're going to be one of the most valuable workers in that company. You're going to get promoted faster and paid more than your peers who come to work late, leave early, and do as little as possible for a paycheck. Now, I'm going to tell you 2 little stories about this slide. One story is I gave a meeting to the Knights of Columbus, and one of the agents took a picture of this slide and posted it on the social media. You know what happened to him? He got attacked. Oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm not going to work for free. I'm not, what, the man wants me to work for free? No way. That's not going to. And all I said is, see, that's the way most people think. Now, let me tell you a true story about this slide. When my second son was 17 years old, he was applying for a job at a Copperwind Tennis Resort in Fountain Hills, Arizona. He was going to be a locker room attendant, give people their towels and the keys and everything. And he came to me, he said, Dad, I'm never going to get hired. There's like 30 people applied for this. They're from Troon and Desert Mountain, all these fancy resorts. They're in their 30s. They got a lot more experience than me. I said, Sean, when you go in for that interview, you tell him your dad's a retired lieutenant colonel from the U.S. Army. He has been tough on you every single day of your life. And if you hire me, I'm going to come to work early, I'm going to stay late, and I'm always going to do more than what you pay me to do. And he did that in the interview. Do you know what the interviewer did? He closed up his book. He said, Sean, I have one question. When can you start? And here's the deal. If any of you have ever interviewed somebody for a job, if somebody actually said that to you, you would probably fall off the back of your chair, because most of the kids are saying, oh, when do I get vacation? I don't want to work nights and weekends and holidays. And that is not the secret to success. So this thing really does work, all right? Even Abraham Lincoln said, whatever you are, be a good one. If you're a plumber, be the best plumber in the county. If you're a UPS driver, have the best on-time, non-accident record you can. I don't know if you've noticed this, but people who are good at things tend to make more than people who suck at things. I mean, it's amazing, but the better you are at something, the more likely you're going to get paid more. And then I say this, there are riches in niches. Find your niche. It will make you rich. See, you don't have to be everything to everybody, but you need to be the best in a certain group. Like my niche is retirement income. Yes, I'm talking about building wealth today. Yes, I talk about life insurance. Yes, I talk about long-term care, but my niche is retirement income. I basically own that retirement income niche, and there are riches in niches. So what you want to do as you get more experienced in the business is you want to become a specialist. You know, it's just like with doctors. A general practice doctor does not make as much as a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon. It's the same in every profession. And I say that people don't become millionaires because they don't make enough money. That's not the reason. I showed you everybody's going to make millions. The real reason is they spend too much of the money they make. So it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. And I'm on record saying this, that most Americans could be millionaires except for two simple things. Number one, they spend way too much money on their cars. And number two, they get divorced. So the moral of the story, drive a used car and stick with your first spouse. Now, I say that a little tongue in cheek, but here's the deal. This is a true story. I'm going to show you two things on how effective this can be. I had a chance to buy a brand new pickup for $65,000, or I could buy a 2-year-old pickup with 13,000 miles for $30,000. Well, the pickup looked great. It had all the bells and whistles, leather seats, Sirius XM radio. Of course, I bought the used vehicle. If anybody who knows me knew I bought that. Now, I saved that $35,000. If I invest that at 6% or 8%, in 30 years, it's going to be worth somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000. In 40 years, it's going to be worth somewhere between $300,000 and $900,000. And in 50 years, it's going to be worth somewhere between $700,000 and $1.8 million. That is one vehicle. See, what people don't realize is the majority of your wealth occurs in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. It doesn't occur in your 20s and 30s and 40s. And what happens is young people get frustrated. They're 35, 40. I don't have much money. I'm never going to get rich. This sucks. My life sucks. No, they got to give it time. And I'm going to show you that in the next couple ones as well. But most people don't buy their cars for cash. At least the young people don't. They take car payments. And I'm shocked by how many young people have $1,000 a month car payments. It's idiotic. It's ridiculous. But what I did is I said, let's turn your car payment into $1 million. So if you have a $250 a month car payment, if instead of that going into a car, if you put it into some type of investment that earns 7%, in 30 years, it'd be worth $300,000, 40 years over $600,000, and in 50 years, it'd be worth $1.3 million. If you have a $500 a month car payment, $600,000 in 30 years, $1.3 million in 40 years, $2.7 million in 50 years. And if you're one of those people with a $1,000 a month car payment, that is costing you millions and millions of dollars, because in 30 years, that'd be 1.2 million, 40 years, 2.6 million, and 50 years, $5.4 million. People have no idea of how they are wasting money on all these depreciating assets like cars. Now, I talk about the rule of 72 here, and this is something you can do very effectively with young people, and I'm going to show you how I did it. The rule of 72 simply measures how fast money doubles. So you can see at the top of the screen, if you got 12%, your money will double every 6 years. You divide 12 into 72, that's 6. That takes 6 years to double. Conversely, at the bottom, if you're in a CD and it's only paying 1%, it's going to take you 72 years to double. Well, let's just take a simple number like 7.2%. I think that's a reasonable rate of return over the long term. And if you divide that into 72, that's every 10 years, every decade. So what would happen is I would sit down with somebody in their 30s and I say, okay, you got 150,000 in your 401k. By the time you're in your 40s, that's going to be 300,000. In your 50s, it's going to be 600,000. In your 60s, it's going to be worth 1.2 million. In your 70s, 2.4 million. In your 80s, 4.8 million. In your 90s, 9.6 million. And that's just on that money. You're going to keep investing and saving other money too. But you show them that it takes time to build wealth. You're not going to become a millionaire in your 30s for most people, but you can. Everybody should by the time they're in their 60s and 70s if they're following these simple methods, okay? You know, Gary Vaynerchuk says people lose because they want things fast when life is long. Then I get these millennials, they say, oh, Tom, boomer, you don't get it. We say YOLO, you only live once. And I said, oh, really? You know what us boomers say? We say yo-yo, you're on your own, baby. And the only person that will take care of your older self is your younger self. Let me say that one more time. The only person who will take care of your older self is your younger self. And I'm just very proud of my younger self that took such good care of little old me. So let's get into this a little more. Financial wellness has to do with your relationship with money. How secure your money is given all the variables: interest rates up, interest rate down, stock market down, Republican, Democrat, all these variables. How financially well are you? And people might have to increase their financial knowledge. They're not getting trained on this stuff. They might have to change their attitude and behavior on spending versus saving. Many people think saving is boring, that retirement's boring. If you got to see my retirement life right now, I'm living an incredible life. For 30 years, I was on the road 200 days a year. I couldn't justify a country club. I'm a big golfer. I couldn't justify a country club membership because there's a buy-in, there's dues, there's food and beverage minimums. Now I'm a member at 2. I'm up here at Flagstaff Ranch in the summer. I'm down in the Phoenix area in the winter. I play golf 4 to 5 days a week. I play pickleball 2 days a week. My wife and I have been on a Panama Canal cruise, Mediterranean cruise, Caribbean cruise. We just got back from the Canary Islands. We were in Barbados earlier this year. We're going to Australia next year. We're doing a Viking Grand European tour from Budapest to Amsterdam. I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store. I won the club championship in 2020. I won the senior club championship in 2022. I feel like I'm a kid at camp. It's fun. It's not boring. We got to teach them that retirement is actually really fun. They got to establish a habit of saving money, create behaviors that include money and financial planning, and they got to be confident in achieving realistic financial goals. And that's where you got to put their name on a piece of paper, showing them that it's possible. So let's use the mountain. Everybody uses a mountain. You're climbing the mountain. That's when you're saving. Then you're at the top of the mountain. You're in retirement. And then you come down the mountain. That's when you're distributing your wealth. It can seem like it's a long way off, but I'll tell you, it comes very quickly. And I see there's some guys on the call with some gray hair. You all know how quickly it comes. You look in the mirror and say, where'd this old guy come from? I don't even recognize this guy. It comes very quickly. So, and there's some obstacles. 40 years ago, I learned people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Well, guess what? That was true 40 years ago. It's true today. The cost of living, inflation has been crazy. Taxes are going to have to go up. I'll talk about that. Procrastination. Well, you know what? I'll do that next year. This year, I got to buy a new car. I got to get a house. I got to do blah, 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 and they just put it off. Competing priorities. I got my kids' college. I got down payment on a first house. I got a car. Now you want me to save money? And then a lack of financial knowledge. Nobody teaches them about depreciating assets, appreciating assets. So some additional, many people have too much debt. They're spending more money than they make. They don't have an emergency fund. Their car breaks down. They got to take money out of their 401k. Divorce. It's like a financial nuclear bomb going off in your portfolio, and not maintaining a good credit rating. And now they're paying interest, high interest on a depreciating asset. It's crazy. That's why they will never get wealthy if they keep going down that plan. So you got to help them with a plan. They need to set priorities. If you're working with a couple, they need to agree at least on the big priorities. And then what are they saving for? Their retirement, college, a first house? Because your investments would be different based on the time horizon. How much can they save? How much should they save? They should be saving at least 15% and trying to get to 20%. When will they need this money? 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 20 years? Again, that will determine what kind of investments. What changes do they need to make? Maybe, I'll tell you this. When I was an agent way back when, I drive up to somebody's house. I see they got 2 pickup trucks, a car, a boat, an RV, a jet ski, a satellite dish, and I go in there and say, well, we don't have any money. I said, no, you got money. You're just making the wrong choices. And this was before Craigslist. I helped them write the want ads to sell this stuff. I said, you got to sell 3 of those things out there, because that's what's dragging you down. You got your priorities in the wrong place. Right now you're at the back of the line. You pay all these bills and you're standing at the back of the line. And there's nothing left for you. That's ridiculous. You are working for a job for yourself. You got to pay yourself first. My job is to move you to the front of the line. Pay yourself first and get rid of some of this junk. How are they going to measure their success and failure? And should they work with a financial professional? My answer is absolutely, positively yes. I know this stuff inside and out, and I work with 2 or 3 financial advisors. 42% of workers have tried to determine how much they need. 58% have no idea. I think it's higher than 58% have no idea how much they need. 42% of workers age 18 to 29 had no retirement savings. 26% age 30 to 34, no retirement savings. And look at this, 17% of 45 to 59-year-olds have no retirement savings. What are they going to do? Who do they think is going to take care of them? Nobody's coming to take care of them. Your younger self is the only one that's going to take care of your older self. And then inflation, the car that costs 40,000 today, in 10 years will be 53,000, in 20 years will be 72,000. You've got to set yourself up to have increasing income over retirement. And then higher taxes. You look at the marginal tax rate in this country for years, many, many decades, it was over 70%. There was a time when it was over 90% after World War II. And now we're somewhere in the high 30% range. What's going to happen when people start taking money in their 401k and taxes go up to 50%, 60%, 70%? And don't say it can't happen. It happened for most of this century. I think people are going to be very disappointed in their IRAs and 401ks. And then the high cost of waiting. Just waiting 10 years can cost you hundreds and thousands of dollars, millions of dollars if you're putting away enough money. And so we've got to get people started early. I told you build the majority of your wealth in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, but it's what you do in your 20s, 30s, and 40s that allows you to build that wealth in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then the competing priorities, you got the down payment on the first house, kids, college education, retirement. I get it. I got 4 kids, had to put 4 kids through college. We got 2 places we got to manage. There's a lot of competing priorities. I get it, but retirement savings has to be a top priority. And then the lack of financial knowledge. Kids just are not getting the education. And that's really why I wrote this book. This is a great thing to put in front of your clients' children. I just did an event up in Salt Lake City, top producers, top performers. And I've been up there. I did my Don't Worry, Retire Happy presentation to their clientele. And then they had me come up and do it again. And I put a little 10-minute of this Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in there. And they loved it. And they said, we want to have our clients bring their kids to a seminar. And I just did a full in-person seminar with over 400 people in the room up in Salt Lake City. And I delivered this presentation I'm delivering to you, to the kids of their clients. And those kids, when those clients die, those kids aren't going anywhere. They're staying. And every one of those kids now has a copy of this book and is using it as a roadmap to build wealth. So let's go back to the mountain. There's building wealth on the way up, protecting wealth at the top, and distributing wealth on the way down. The real question is, where are you, or where's your client on that mountain? And today we're talking about the building wealth. So I'm not going to get into specific products. If you like stocks and bonds or mutual funds, ETFs, real estate, I've even said I authorize 1% into crypto. I was the biggest crypto non-believer in the world, right? It's a nothing burger. I mean, it's just the greater fool theory. There's nothing there. You got to find somebody stupider than you to pay more than what you paid. That's what I thought. And then I watched Michael Saylor on CNBC one time lay out a very believable case to a total non-believer like me that Bitcoin could hit $1 million of Bitcoin. Now he says it can hit 13 million of Bitcoin or whatever. But he said, look, all we're advising that our clients put 1% of their portfolio into crypto, because if it goes to $1 million, you're going to be really happy. If it goes to 0, not going to hurt your retirement. Well, that resonated with me. So I put 1% of my portfolio into Bitcoin back when it was 2,000 a Bitcoin. Did you see what it was? It hit 76,000 last night. That 1% is now worth well over $1 million. I mean, it's crazy. And so I don't care. You can decide how you want them to invest, but all of these are appreciating assets. And I just want the majority of their money to go into appreciating assets. But there have been some challenges. The 60-40 portfolio had the worst performance ever in 2022. The stock market be volatile. I know we're at record highs, but when we're at record highs, all that means is that someday something's going to happen and things are going to go down. So how much risk can people take? Younger people can certainly take more, but if they're young, they need to learn to stay in and not panic, okay? And take advantage when markets do crash, because markets do crash. That shows you that red line there is the worst year ever for bonds in 2022. And just so you know, in 2016, I wrote this article. The 60-40 portfolio is dead. Long live life insurance and annuities. And all I said back in 2016, does it make any sense whatsoever to put 40% of your portfolio into bonds that are paying 1%? Your 60% stock, 40% bonds into 1% bonds. I said that is idiotic, because we all know when interest rates go up, what happens to the value of bonds? They go down. And that's exactly what happened in 2022. I said far better is instead of putting that 40% in bonds, put that into cash value life insurance or put it into annuities. You do not have the interest rate risk that you do with bonds, with life insurance and annuities. And had people listened to me back in 2016, they would not have had a bad year in the 60-40 portfolio. And you can see that that got published in Forbes as well, life insurance as a bond substitute. It's important that young people know the market goes up. Seth, can you mute that person, whoever it is? But the market goes up about 72, 73% of the time. It goes down 27%. So it goes up a lot more often than it goes down. All right. But markets can and do go down and stay down for long periods of time. For example, the European stock market was down for over 20 years. The Japanese stock market was down for over 30 years. Even in our country, we had a lost decade, 10 years, where the market did nothing. I mean, what would happen to your clients if the market went down and stayed down for 10 or 15 or 20 years? It's not going to wreck my retirement, but it might wreck theirs. But for young people, they've got to be willing to stay in and keep adding even when the market's down. That's how you make money over the long term. And then I was shocked to see how health and finances are so totally connected. You know, financial health and personal health are more connected than many people think. A 2019 Bankrate survey showed that more than half Americans lose sleep over money troubles. And I'll bet everyone on this call at one point in your life has had some financial stress like sleep loss, anxiety, headaches, compromised immune system, digestive issues, high blood pressure, muscle tension, just a feeling of being overwhelmed financially. If you lose your job or if you get disabled or something, I mean, it can play all kinds of craziness in your whole body because financial wealth and health are tied together. You know, one study found that 23% of those in debt report having severe depression compared to 4% without. Another saw a 14% increase in depression symptoms with every 10% increase in debt. A Canadian study found that neighbors of lottery winners were more likely to incur debt and file for bankruptcy. Why is that? Because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Oh, they bought a new car. I bought a new car. They got this. I got to get that. Feelings of inferiority, shame, high risk, self-sabotaging behavior. Those are all examples how your relationship with money can affect your emotional health. Now, this dementia and Alzheimer's is kind of important to me. Both my parents had Alzheimer's, okay? And Alzheimer's disease and dementia were associated with adverse financial events that started years before the patients were diagnosed. In fact, those with Alzheimer's and dementia were more likely to miss bill payments up to 6 years prior to diagnosis and started to develop a substandard credit scores 2.5 years prior to diagnosis. Now, the interesting thing is one of the reasons that my sister was able to figure out that my mom had dementia and Alzheimer's was she went over to her house one day and my mom is furiously paying all these bills. And she was like, there's so many bills and she's paying them all. And my sister looked at them. Not one of them was a bill. They were all charity things. And they make these charity requests look like bills because they know these older people get dementia and Alzheimer's. And my mom was trying to prove that she didn't have dementia, she was making sure she paid all her bills. But they weren't bills, they were charity requests. And then taxes, we talked about it a little bit. There's taxable investments, stocks, bonds, CDs, tax deferred, IRAs, 401ks, annuities, and then tax-free. Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, cash value life insurance. Now, this slide is old, 1 trillion. I guess it's going to hit 36 trillion in the next day or two. So I'll have to update this. But I mean, our country is so deep in debt. Every single one of you owes what, $268,000. So I hope you get those checks into Uncle Sugar. They need them. 1.7 trillion in credit card debt. I think 1.3 trillion or 1.7 student loan, 1.3 in credit card debt, and the scariest number of all, over what, $217 trillion of unfunded obligation for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, government pensions, military pensions. Look, taxes are going to have to go up. But why is this a big problem? Well, 35 trillion at 1% interest, when interest rates were 1%, it was $350 billion. I mean, that's a big number, but we can handle it. But at 5%, that's 1.7 trillion. The entire defense budget is $860 billion. This year, we are going to pay over $1 trillion just in interest on the debt. And it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. And if that 35 trillion goes to 50 trillion, you're talking $2.5 trillion just for interest on the debt. Totally unsustainable. I have moved, I've converted all of my IRAs and 401ks to Roth. Yes, I took a tax hit. Yes, I paid a ton of taxes, but I believe these are the lowest taxes I'm ever going to see. I've moved more of my personal wealth to cash value life insurance. My annual premium for 12 years, it was a 12 pay. I'm just done, so I'm happy, but it's $226,000 a year for 12 years. So I've got a lot of cash now in there that I can flip the switch and get tax-free income as well. And when I say, where do you think tax rates are going? I think everybody says they're going to have to go up. Well, what does a tax perfect retirement plan look like? It looks like this. You could get a tax deductible contribution. Your money would grow tax deferred and you get to take it out tax free. Man, that would be tax perfect. Well, that doesn't exist. You can pick 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. Most of your clients pick 1 and 2. That's your IRA, your 401k, your profit sharing. I'm saying, just shouldn't we have some money in that other bucket where like with the Roth IRA, Roth 401k, cash value life insurance, here's some easy ways to explain this. I say, first of all, if I was on the appointment, I would say, does your company have a 401k? They say, yeah. Does it have a match? Yes. How does the match work? Well, if I put in 4%, they match with 4%. Okay, good. I would do that. That's a 100% rate of return. But beyond the match, I would not put another penny into an IRA or 401k. I'd put it into a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k, cash value life insurance. I would put it there. And if you're working with farmers or ranchers, here's a great question. Would you rather pay taxes on the seed or the harvest? Every single farmer will tell you they would rather pay tax on the seed. And that is your Roth IRA, your Roth 401k, your life insurance. Paying tax on the harvest, that's your 401k, your IRA. And I think so many people are going to be so disappointed with how little money they get to take out of their 401k and IRA that the government's going to take. I was playing golf about a month ago with the guy, and he said, Tom, my 401k is now $1 million. I said, oh, that is great. I said, how much of that is yours? And he said, what do you mean? It's all mine. I said, no. It's a 401k. See, with a 401k, you have a partner. In fact, you're the limited partner. The government's the general partner. They get to take their cut first, and you get whatever's left. Right now, they're taking 38, 39%. What happens when they take 60% or 70%? I think people are going to be very, very disappointed. So you want to talk to people about tax diversification. You talk to them about asset allocation. You talk to them about diversification. Talk to them about tax diversification. Don't put all your eggs in the pre-tax bucket. The other thing is, people don't realize how the low interest rate environment has caused so many people to be underinsured. See, when interest rates were 1%, how much money would you need to invest at 1% to give you $50,000 of annual income? Well, the answer is $5 million. So if we turn that back, when interest rates were 1%, somebody who made $50,000 a year should have $5 million worth of life insurance. Well, how many people did you know making $50,000 a year that were walking around with $5 million life? They weren't even close. They maybe had $500,000 or $300,000 of life insurance. They were so far underinsured. Well, now interest rates are closer to 5%. So how much money do you need to invest at 5% to get $50,000? The answer is $1 million. That is not ridiculous. So what I'm saying is, your client should have at least $1 million of life insurance for every $50,000 of income. Now, some of you think that that's too much too. Well, I'm going to tell you a true story. This is a story about a widow who thought she was a millionaire. This happened now about 3-4 years ago. And it was when I was writing the intro to my second book, Retirement Income Masters, Secrets of the Pros. And what happened was, I had left my house. I was gone all week doing this kind of thing. And then I spoke at MDRT in Philadelphia over the weekend, and then I kept going for the next week. So when I left my house, I was gone for 13 straight days. I came home on a Saturday, and I left Sunday for 6 more days. So out of this 20-day stretch, Tommy's gone 19 out of 20 days. I'm home for 1 day on a Saturday. Well, a couple days before I got home, my oldest son gave me a call. He said, Dad, I need a favor. My best friend's brother died 3 weeks ago, and his wife, the widow, just got the check, and it's a big check, and she wants to meet with you on Saturday. I said, Ryan, what does you want to meet with me for? I don't do any more personal production at all, not even for my own family. And he goes, well, that's why she wants to meet with you, because she knows you know this stuff, and you're not going to try to sell her anything. I said, Ryan, I've been gone for 13 days. I'm leaving for 6 days. I'm home for 1 day. I'm not driving around the valley looking for somebody who wants to talk to me. But I said, here's what I'll do. If they want to come to my house, I will meet with them at 9 o'clock on Saturday. Well, the widow, the dad, and the brother show up at my house, sat around my dining room table. She was 42 years of age, 2 little girls, husband killed unexpectedly, a $1 million death claim. After I gave her my condolence, she said, Tom, I never thought I'd be a millionaire. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to build a house on a lake with a place for my daughters to play. I literally had to stop her and say, ma'am, time out, time out, time out. $1 million, you know, in a 1% interest rate environment gives you $10,000 a year. Now, if you invest that, if you diversify, you know, people say you can take out 4%. That's kind of risky, maybe 3.5%. So that's $35,000 a year. You're not a millionaire. You're somebody who gets $35,000 a year. She was shocked. What are you talking about? My husband made $250,000 a year. We can't live on $35,000 a year. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what's the minimum? The minimum somebody making $250,000 a year should have in life insurance, $5 million. We could have had a different conversation. So look, my point here is that people are so far underinsured, they have no idea. And you've got to just tell little stories like this so they can realize how underinsured they are. See, on the day you die, your spouse is going to ask 4 simple questions. And it's not going to be, do we have term life or whole life or IUL? Do we have MetLife or New York Life or State Farm? No, those aren't going to be the questions. The 4 questions are, how much life insurance do we have? How long will the dollars last? Can we stay in our same house and the kids go to the same school? My question to you is, what do you want the answers to be? And I used to turn this around. If somebody say, no, we don't need any more life insurance, I just say, okay, well, you got to tell me the plan here. You aren't going to be able to stay in this house. So like, are you going to move in with her parents, or is she going to move in with your parents? Like, what's the plan? And then that would get them thinking. So you can turn these questions around as well. Now, I want to talk for just a minute on human capital. Human capital has been studied by all kinds of different organizations, and it can get kind of complicated, but I'm going to try to make it very simple, okay? So the definition of human capital is the present value of all your future earnings. So all the money you're going to make for the rest of your life, you calculate it back with an inflation factor, and that is your human capital. And when you add your human capital to your financial capital, your stocks, your bonds, your 401ks, your IRAs, that's your total economic wealth. And what these studies have found is that most advisors only focus on financial capital. Hey, where's your 401k? Where's your which mutual funds are you in? I'll do a mutual fund survey for it. And we should be paying a little more attention to human capital. So how this works is, as we get into the workforce, as we start working and earning money, we are supposed to save and invest some of that money. We are supposed to turn our human capital into financial capital. So you can imagine a baby way at the left side has no money, but they're worth millions and millions of dollars because they're going to earn millions and millions over their lifetime. And then as we get older, the human capital goes down, and hopefully the financial capital is going up, all right? Because you're going to be working for fewer and fewer years as you work more and more years. And so young people have lots of human capital, maybe not as much financial capital. Older people, hopefully they have financial capital because they don't have much human capital left. It just so happens life insurance is the only thing that can protect your human capital. So if you go through life and you don't believe in life insurance, and let's say this person has $700,000 in their 401k, they have $800,000 of human capital remaining. If they die with no life insurance, their family only gets their financial capital. And what this says is you should just take a little bit of your financial capital to buy some life insurance to protect your human capital. So whether you live or whether you die, your family is consistent, and they're taken care of and they're protected. Let me wrap it up this way. Marriage is hard, divorce is hard, but you get to choose your hard. Obesity is hard. Being fit is hard. Choose your hard. Being in debt, it's hard, but being financially disciplined is hard too. Choose your hard. Life will never be easy. It will always be hard, but you get to choose your hard. Pick wisely. So some simple tips: pay yourself first, make saving a priority, invest regularly, automatically out of your paycheck, save at least 15% of your income, try to increase it to 20%, put your money into appreciating assets, stop putting money into depreciating assets, create a budget, track your expenses, spend less than what you earn. I think we learned in COVID, we don't need all this crap. We got too much crap. Cut out the crap. Just get rid of it. Establish an emergency fund. Pay off your credit cards. Use cash when you can. Find ways to earn more money, or for financial advisors, spend more time in your business. Work with a financial professional. Protect yourself and family with insurance products. Remember, the only person who will take care of your older self is your younger self. So a couple things. I'd encourage you to sign up for my newsletter. It's free. You go to tomhegna.com. Just click on sign up for the newsletter. One of my most powerful newsletter, most popular one was this one, Why Ken Fisher Really Loves Annuities, and you should too. You can find it. It's still on the internet. I was named as one of the 11 thought leaders in the world by the American College. They said follow him. His newsletter's free. I've got free webinars. If you just go to tomhegna.com/webinars, if you like what I did today, this one is one of them. You can watch it again, or you could have your associates watch it. You know, my Don't Worry, Retire Happy, the webinar method where I can do webinars for you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You just send people a link. I'm doing the webinar. So I got some really powerful webinars. They're completely free. You don't even need a credit card. I've got books. I got audiobooks. I got online training, online coaching. I'd encourage you to take advantage of it. You can put your name and picture on the cover of my books. It'll still say, you know, Don't Worry, Retire Happy by Tom Hegna, but with contributions from your name. You get your picture in the book. One of the flaps is about me. One of the flaps is about you. Same with my paychecks and playchecks. And my special offer for today, if you want, we can actually customize the entire book, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? See, these other books are hardcover. It's very expensive, and it's very hard to do. But this is a paperback, and the printer's just literally within a mile of our office. So if you want, you can put your name and picture on the cover of the book, and then 9 pages of the book will be about you. There'll be an entire chapter on you. And we're going to do that. You're going to get a case of 38 of them for $975 and free shipping. All right. And if you want to order more, you can. But what a great Christmas gift that you give to your very best clients for them to give to their kids for Christmas. I mean, this has been working all around the country. You can have your name in there, your picture, your phone number. The one chapter can be all about you. You just go to support@tomhegna.com or 855-TOM-HEGNA. You might want to take a picture of that. Support@tomhegna.com or 855-TOM-HEGNA. And that's really it, Sean. I think if there's any questions, I'll leave this up in case anybody, but I'm happy to take questions. We finished in about 41 minutes, so I think that was okay.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it. That was awesome. It's funny. You're preaching to financial advisors, and we know this stuff and been doing it for decades. I still got plenty of notes. Your enthusiasm and excitement for the business is contagious. Makes me want to we'll have a separate conversation with my wife and about our cars and kids. The offer on the books is amazing. I think it's like $25. That's like $25 a book. That's awesome.
Yeah, and beyond that, it would be even cheaper because this is
the more you buy, the cheaper
printing, yes. And for more copies, we could give that. You know, Logan will hook you up with whatever those costs will be if you want to get 100 or 200, whatever.
Awesome. We greatly appreciate the offer and the time. So we're gonna again. Tom did get done a little bit early. I think that was lightning fast. You guys yell at me for talking too fast. Tom might have me beat. So if you want to unmute and ask a question, that would be awesome. We had some in your chat. One, which was where do we go to get the book, which is at tomhegna.com, unless you want a custom version of it, which you got to email support@tomhegna.com.
Yeah, they're going to need a high resolution photo. They're going to tell you how many words a chapter needs to be. But now with just so you know, if anybody you're worried about writing a book, you can just type into AI the 10 things that are important to you, and you can say, write me a chapter of a book with 2,000 words in it that covers these 10 things, and it'll write a whole draft for you, and then you can take it from there and edit. I mean, you can do it in like 10 minutes. It's crazy.
All right. Questions or comments for Tom? Unmute and chime in. Let's see. Who do I see who's unmuted? Bruce, you got your hand up. Awesome.
Listen, this is just a testimonial for Tom because my clients, literally, the key word is paychecks and playchecks. And growing money is not as difficult as long as you commit to a program. It's decumulation that's the hard thing. And Tom, I live my practice based on your teaching about protected income and the secret to retirement success. My struggle, though, with life insurance is that it's a huge commitment. I've had people start their life insurance policies, and after a couple of years, they want to stop paying. And so it's a struggle to get people to stay invested in an IUL.
Yeah. And it's so critical that they do, because the people who start, and whole life is worse if they quit because they get almost nothing back, the first year or two. And I'm a big whole life believer, but that's why what I would do with people who are a little bit flaky financially, I would never put them in a whole life policy. I put them in a UL type policy because it's a little more flexible. But to commit, especially to a like a 12 pay whole life. You got to commit to 12 years. That's what you got to do. Because if you don't, you'll have wasted a lot of money. And so you are right. It's a commitment, but that's why I think it's so important to stress that up front so that you don't have the people canceling and things like that.
Tom, I appreciate that. I put the email and the phone number in the chat so you can take the screen off so we can see more of you. Bruce, thank you for those kind words about Tom. Other comments or questions before we wrap up? Chris says, I have a scenario I'm still trying to work with. I have a friend that still thinks life insurance is a waste of money. I showed him my whole life insurance illustration. He doesn't want to spend the money.
Well, but I mean, with a whole life, you're not spending the money, right? You can show them that. And what I would say to that person, just show them a 10 pay, because what people don't like about a whole life is they think they got to pay for their whole life. So show them a 10 pay, and you show them, look, in 10 years, you're going to put this amount of money, and in 20, 30 years, it's going to be worth this amount of money. You can show them that he's not spending money. Every penny of my 226,000 premium is in my policy plus a lot more, and I get it out tax-free. And that is a huge benefit.
Absolutely. Lauren, you got a question.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to get your thoughts, Tom, on Roth, or excuse me, 529s versus life insurance for little people, because it typically takes about 10 years to hit the break even, and they're thinking, well, why would I want to do life insurance instead of a 529 when I think I can accumulate a lot more for my kid or my grandkid with a 529?
Before Tom chimes in, I want to chime in and say, for financial aid purposes on the college side, I would pick life insurance all day long because it does not count as an asset against you for financial aid, and a 529 does.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
good. But I've used 529 plans in the past, so I'm not against 529 plans, but I'd say show them the pluses and minuses on each and let them decide what they think is best.
Thank you.
Compare the two.
Yes, with life insurance, you can design a program that will not only pay for college, but will then reward you later with retirement income. It's really powerful when you design a policy properly.
Oh, exactly. There's no comparison once you get to, look toward what that benefits them over their entire life. It's just trying to get them to use it as a college savings vehicle. And
the problem is too many people wait too long. Their kid is 14 and they say, well, I better start saving for college. Well, it's hard to save in a life insurance policy if their kid needs money in 4 years, And so if you can start them as a baby or something, that's when the life insurance really pops.
Absolutely. Eli says life insurance doesn't count towards Social Security taxation either. Awesome. I think we have time for one more. Terry, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, good to see you again. You and I were together in Scottsdale back in February of this year at POZ. Any rate, I'm on your site and I'm not seeing how to customize the books.
No, you got to reach out to Logan at support@tomhegna.com or 855 Tom Hegna. There you go.
I talked to him before.
Yeah, Logan will hook you because they got to get your picture. They got to do. You can't do that online. You got to talk to him and he'll tell you what you need. And yeah. Thanks, Bruce.
All right, can we get a virtual round of applause for Tom? Tom, thank you so much for spending some of your very valuable time with us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As always, thank you for watching the replay. We will see you all next Thursday.
All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep.